Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to keep this intro short because this video is long. As you can tell by the title, this video is all about USC. You can use this video if you're applying or thinking about committing, but just as a disclaimer, you should not use this video as your only source of information. Not everyone's experience will be the same, especially with a pandemic altering the college experience. And lastly, I interview a lot of people with different academic and extracurricular experiences, so feel free to skip around. Timestamps will be in the description. Enjoy!
Hi, I'm Layla.
That's
I'm
when
Ellie.
you go.
I thought you were going to introduce your major.
Yeah,
and
so-
stuff.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you studying? And what are you involved in?
Hi, I'm Layla. I am a narrative studies major with a minor in film, and I'm looking to make that a double major, and I'm also thinking about adding a minor in acting. I'm from Thousand Oaks, which is like an hour north of SC. And I'm Ellie. I'm also from Thousand Oaks. We're twins if you can't tell. I'm an English and law major, and I'm planning on adding a minor at some point. I'm not sure about that yet. And we're both freshmen. I'm not sure if she mentioned that.
I didn't.
I'm part of the Spirit Leaders team here at SC. I'm also part of the Spirit Leaders team at SC.
What is a thematic option and how did it affect you and your schedule?
Basically, it's this honors program within Dornsife that offers kind of an accelerated education, and that's more interdisciplinary and stuff. It's definitely more rigorous work. It covers more of your GEs and stuff. Coming from the IB program in high school, a small classroom style with close groups that you can work and focus on tasks together and big research projects rather than individual worksheets. So finding out that was an option here at SC instead of big lecture halls by yourself, it seemed like a really good idea to keep that close focus on my work and close reading and everything, especially as an English major. I definitely say it's not for the faint of heart. You have to be dedicated to it. But I personally love it, and the courses have all been really great so far, and the professors have been great, and it's really helping me grow here too.
My name is Rachel. I am from Portland, Oregon. I'm a third year, and I'm studying human biology with a minor in occupational science as well as nutrition and health promotion. I am a spirit leader with Grantis Squarepantis. Inflammation of grants. I'm involved in MEMO, which is a medical and service outreach sort of org.
Hi, I'm Kristina. I am from San Jose, California. I'm a third year at USC, and I'm majoring in health and human sciences with a minor in occupational science and then one in healthcare studies. I'm also a spirit leader with Rachel and Grant, and then I'm involved in two mentorship organizations. So I'm in Troy Camp here at USC and then also Kessim. Classes, a lot of prereq classes, the average size is about 100 students, but other classes, the MCAT sociology class, it'll be 20, 30 students. So yeah, I feel class sizes are pretty small in comparison to a lot of other public universities when you compare the same classes.
I'm Madison. I'm from San Diego, California. I'm a junior. My major is business, and I'm emphasizing in finance, and my minors are sports media industries and dance. So I'm on the USC Spirit Leaders. I'm also the director of professional events at the Marshall Business Network, which is kind of a selective club for business students trying to learn about their career path. I also was in a few more clubs, but I had to quit them because Spirit took up so much of my time. I was in Trojan Investing Society and the Sports Business Association. I think Marshall is different because of the Trojan Network, everyone hears that, but just having so many people willing to help you, and there's so many programs you can get to have mentors, and even if you reach out to someone on LinkedIn, they're always willing to do informational interview. I've gone to certain interviews where I've said I was on the cheer team at USC, and that's literally gotten me a job. I think the value of the Trojan Network is just really special, especially in Marshall. They're always super willing to help.
Okay, so my name is Paige Kaufman. I'm from Sacramento, California in NorCal. I am a sophomore in school here, and I study astronautical engineering. It's definitely challenging, as any engineering school would be. I mean, you're all struggling together, so I guess the bond becomes really strong. I met Grant in physics class, and we immediately became friends from office hours and struggling over the homework. So in my major specific classes, I have smaller classes of about 20, 30, and then in the larger, more general ed ones, there can be about 150 or smaller. And those are just the people enrolled, not the people that show up to class or office hours. So if you're really on top of it, you'll get a ton of professor face-to-face time.
My name is Connie. I'm from the Bay Area. I'm a senior right now, public relations major in Annenberg, and I have a double minor, management consulting in Marshall and entertainment industry in the School of Cinematic Arts. I'm a part of a good number of clubs on campus. The two that I dedicate the most of my time to are USC Spirit Leaders, and I help run the Public Relations Student Society of America chapter at USC. So my major specifically is public relations, and it's a really small program at USC. In fact, I think most colleges don't even offer it as a major. Annenberg is one of the top schools for communications, journalism, and PR, in the world. Our school does an incredible job of giving us resources, whether that's an incredible network post-graduation or access to a media center with literally state-of-the-art technology.
Howdy y'all, my name is Semaj. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm a second year and I'm studying violin performance with a music industry minor at USC. I'm a part of the USC Thornton Orchestra and I do chamber music as well. Our core classes are a little different from everyone else's. We normally take all of our core classes the first 2 years, so that is oral skills and music theory. In addition to other classes called music and ideas, which is a musicology class, and a careers in music class. It kind of helped solidify our cohort amongst music students and inspire a lot of collaboration amongst the Thornton students. And now, in this semester, I'm taking a lot of GE courses. So it's a little bit different, just adjusting to the larger university. Well, at least for Thornton, I was a little surprised by the lack of diversity amongst the faculty and students, and I wish they would, hire more diverse faculty members.
Hi, I'm Sarah Anna Jonas. I'm a current sophomore in the Writing for Screen and Television division at School of Cinematic Arts, a minor in entertainment industry, and I'm originally from New York. Currently, I'm working a lot at the music library in Doheny. I was a part of a lot of writing clubs, but this semester with 7 classes, one of them being a major production that we're doing. That's all I can really fit in my schedule right now. Writers write at night, so I have a lot of 7 to 10 classes, which is totally fine. I'm in the thematic option program, so that changes up some things a bit because I have smaller classes. We have a lot of 8-person classes where we just work on our scripts. Right now, I'm in a feature class where we're writing an entire movie in a year. A lot of those kinds of classes. There are a lot of lectures where we learn about the art and craft of screenwriting. Even though I'm a screenwriting student, I did have to take a production class last year.
How are the resources and the faculty for SCA?
Oh, they're awesome. They're really great. I mean, you can always talk to professors about literally anything. You need to be in a good state of mental health in order to produce your best work and to be able to focus, because they do demand a lot from us. They're awesome. I always have one-on-one meetings and I'm hey, can you read this? And then they'll give me notes. It's a 25-person major.
Oh, okay.
There's only 26 of us in the major per year.
My name is Kayla. Some people call me Kesha. I'm from San Jose, California. I am a junior. I'm majoring in business administration. I have an emphasis in marketing with minors in cinematic arts and also in culture, media, and entertainment. I am an RA, so I'm a resident assistant. I am also a tour guide in training. I'm also part of Troy Philippines, which is USC's Filipino club. I'm the director of media there. I'm also a Spring Admit ambassador.
And what does a Spring Admit ambassador do?
I'm an ambassador for Spring Admits. So the Spring Admit decision isn't something that you choose. It's just they choose you pretty much. It's essentially just delaying your start at USC by 1 semester. So you're still considered a freshman, part of the class that you applied with, but you just start a semester later. I did community college when I was a Spring Admit, so for the fall semester and also the summer before that, I was just taking classes online because everything was online because of COVID, and then that first semester at USC was also online. So then my first semester actually on campus was last year, my sophomore year.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie. I am a current senior studying human biology with the minor in business finance, and I'm from Texas. I chose human biology because a lot of the classes that I'm taking for the major are the prerequisites that I need for dental school. Other kids in my major are also a pre-health person, med, pre-med, pre-dent, pre-PA, things like that. And so then we also have great advisors. So if there's a class that I need to take for dental school that wasn't in my course plan, they were great about letting me know. And then pre-dent was pretty easy coming here. I connected with the pre-health services like when I committed to USC, and they were able to put me a part of their like email list, and I just get emails about like events.
With the path that you are on currently, what would be your dream career or end goal?
I really want to be either a screenwriter or director, hopefully both, but we'll see how that goes. Really something in the movie industry.
For me right now, my trajectory is like going into the entertainment industry or music industry as an entertainment lawyer or music law. That's kind of the direction I'm going, so I might add in a music industry or just like a music minor or something else to like factor into my interests.
We are both pre-PA, so we want to be physician assistants, which is like a 2 to 3 year master program after undergrad. So basically there are a bunch of like course prereqs for that, and also you need like a buttload of hours, like clinical hours.
My end goal, I'd probably want to do something on the business side of sports, so like work in finance for an NFL team.
End goal is mission control, or maybe space, we'll see.
The 3 disciplines that I really care about are PR, film, and business. And right now, I see myself going into the marketing space in film because I really like making sure that the art that people make gets put in front of the people who are intended to see it.
So the career path that I want to go on is either be an H&R for the music industry or being a professional musician in the film scoring industry.
My end goal is definitely to be staffed in a writer's room, but I would love to be able to like sell my own TV show one day or something like that. Yeah.
My end goal with the things that I'm studying here at USC is I'd like to work in entertainment, specifically entertainment marketing.
So my current end goal is dental school. If I end up going another way, I would like to work maybe like in the beauty area, do something with like the science field. All else feels corporate, but a lot of, again, beauty companies have like a corporate sector, so I could still use like biology to somehow work in the corporate world.
Could you go into more detail regarding your extracurriculars?
I am in the Trojan marching band, and I play the clarinet there, and I'm a squad leader. I love the band. I cannot shut up about it. Grant knew about it within 5 minutes of us meeting. So joining freshman year, it's always good because we do a week of band camp. It put me in a friend group right away. I was able to make friends outside of it and friends in my own year, but that's something that I just know will always be there. So it's really comforting, and it was comforting to me in the beginning to just ask questions, get to know people, and that's my favorite thing about the band is the connections that you can make.
I am a current spirit leader. I am also captain of the team. My role as spirit leader is to lead the school in traditions and spread those traditions to like incoming freshmen as well as maintain them with alumni. We also cheer at every sporting event, and with the big ones being football and basketball.
So Troy Philippines, I think I have like, yeah, it's like right there. I made that. It's a design. We did a little like, we're not really strangers, like Troy Philippines thing to start off the year. We have like the professional development aspects, like the cultural aspects, and we also have social aspects. Grant is also in Tri-Fi. And then as media director and like being on eBoard, I do like all of the social media things, the website, graphic designs, videos.
I won a competition into a class where we're creating a series. We wrote that last semester, and then we're finishing up writing, and we're going to be producing that this semester.
Wow.
It's like
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a very exciting class, so there are a lot of opportunities here at USC like that.
I think the very first job I had on campus was with the Annenberg Inclusion Initiative. It's basically a team of student workers, grad students, and professionals working to collect data on whether or not diversity and inclusion are improving in the entertainment industry. It's a great thing to be a part of, and then that like launched me into like a further career in entertainment. Through there I got to work for I think almost 2 years, and it was some of the most rewarding work I've done because I see those reports now like on my LinkedIn being referenced at my internships.
I do a little bit of research. I did a little bit of research last spring. I studied abroad in Paris for a month, a Maymester. I studied astronomy. And then you like buy your own plane tickets, you buy your own food. So like the class like credits that you pay for covers housing. So that was kind of nice. It was my first time in Europe. I went with one of my best friends.
Which friend?
Ainsley. Yes, it was so good. It was so good. And then my physics teacher for the next semester was the guy who was teaching us astronomy. And I didn't have to miss any time at USC. That's why I didn't want to do a full semester, because I love it here.
One of the highlights of my time at USC was getting to study abroad last spring. I feel like my view of the world was expanded. I studied abroad through Annenberg through my PR major, and I went to Rome, Italy for about like 4.5 months. I got to have very tailored classes to my major. I had a lot of downtime to travel and see a lot of Europe. I learned a lot about myself. I think that like being placed in a different environment like that can challenge you and teach you more about yourself. So if you have like the means to and are able to study abroad, I like highly recommend it.
From what you remember, how was the application process for your specific school? And what advice could you offer applicants?
What's really important for all of SCA, School of Thematic Arts, I think we still use the slide room application, which is like the supplementals to the comment. Thank you. For the writing division, there were a lot of essays, a lot of prompts. What was really important was that you're very vulnerable and honest. It was all like very like personal stuff. That's what you're going to be writing about it when you're writing major, so it's important to show that you can display it. They also give us prompts for writing scripts. They're very short. They're like only 3 or 4 page scripts, so you have to really like pack everything you can and all your talent in there. And then you can also submit a 10-page script of your own. It could be a part of a bigger piece or not.
So our year, that was the whole pandemic stuff. So it was all super confusing and a little different from the normal process, but from what I remember, we had to do the normal application by December 1st, all the art majors, and we had to submit a pre-screening to make sure that we were qualified for the school. And after we got through that process, we went through an interview and a final audition for the school.
We had a few supplementals. I think there were a couple engineering ones. One was what is something that you like fit into the engineering stereotype. Oh, they had one about the engineering challenges. You have to like read the ones on the website. Definitely take some time to at least read a couple that like pop out to you and just really understand them. Other than that, I went through the merit scholarship interviews. That was actually pretty easy. From like, tell me about yourself to what's your comeback to someone saying we shouldn't go to Mars and it's a waste of resources. Pretty straightforward interview questions you could expect.
In terms of applications, especially if you have like financial need, complete every financial aid form that they give you. Especially for USC, there is not only the FAFSA, but there's also the CSS profile. Just make sure you fill everything out by the deadline. If you want to apply to SCA, you have to apply, I believe, by November 1st instead of December 1st.
Oh,
It's a bit more, you have
to.
Yeah, so you have to get started on that stuff early.
Do all the supplements. I highly recommend it. I did it for all of my applications.
Personally, I added a supplement, an optional supplement as an English major. It's like an abstract of one of my research papers from high school. I added that in there.
Really pay attention to the Common App essays, showcase your values. What can you contribute to the school? Not only idolizing the school, but what can you offer the school as well?
They want to hear more about like what you want to do. The idea that like you are planning of like executing in your 4 years at SC.
Every school loves to hear that you've done your research on them specifically.
Because if you're like, why USC essay is just really vague and talks about like, oh, I want to live in LA and oh, I want to go to like sporting events, they're not going to take it. Like, look at the specific clubs in your major, look at specific classes you want to take and kind of write those so they see that you are interested in the school.
For people who are applying to USC, my advice is to be like authentic and genuine in your applications.
Just like be yourself.
Just be yourself. That's the number one advice.
And also tour campuses if you can. The tour is literally what made me want to choose USC.
That's so true. As soon as I stepped on campus, I was like, this is the one.
No, for
like,
sure.
you knew.
I thought I was like a UCLA girl, like all the way, like from
Same.
middle school. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I love UCLA. I want to go to UCLA. But I visited USC first, and USC like really like blew my mind. I was like, oh my god. And then I visited UCLA after, and it was just really underwhelming. They don't even have like a business program. Like I'd have to study economics.
Where did you live during your first year on campus, and how has housing been so far?
Freshman year, I lived in Birnkrant. I think that it's one of the best dorms because it has a reputation for being super social. I had some friends who were older than me who had already been at USC for a few years, and they recommended that I go to Birnkrant because it was so social. The people on my floor and in my building are still some of my closest friends now, senior year.
So my first year, I lived in Pardee Tower. It was definitely an interesting experience. I lived on a special entrance floor called Somerville. It's basically all African Americans, and it kind of helped my experience just adjusting to the large university of USC, and especially it being a predominantly white institution. So it just helped my transition a lot better, and also where it's Pardee's location, it helped out being more involved with campus because it's in the center of everything. So you have McCarthy Quad, Doheny, and all the events happening. So I really loved my first year experience.
My first year on campus, I lived at Troy Hall. Troy Hall is really good, but a lot of people don't know about it. It was really spacious, but it is USC housing, but it's off campus.
My first year at USC, or like living here, was in Cowlings and Ilium.
Oh my god, we were neighbors! We were neighbors in Cowlings, which is in the village, and we lived down the hall from each other.
Last year was like pretty nice and convenient because the village obviously like has a lot of amenities and everything's like really close.
I lived in McCarthy, so that's the big clock tower in the village. McCarthy, you have to be a merit recipient or like have a specific like pre-SAT score or something like that. It was beautiful. It was in a suite style. I actually had my own room freshman year.
Okay.
I know. So you do have to pay more for it.
So I lived at Parkside IRC my freshman year. I loved living there.
I was in Parkside, not the apartments. I was in the dorms. They were like suite style.
We're living in Parkside.
International Residence College. Yes.
It's very far from everything is what I would say. Everyone calls it Parkside Dark Side because it's so far from everything, and like it's not the most social, but I personally love it because it's like I can go to bed at any time and it's quiet.
It's a more like quiet dorm, or at least it was when I was there. For me personally, I was looking for something a little bit more social.
The staff is so nice, like it's super clean here. I think it's really helpful to have cleaning staff too because of like how it kind of gets dirty and it's hard to handle on your own. So it's nice to have people come in and clean the bathrooms like a few times a week. It's definitely nice to have AC. It's been really nice so far.
I loved it. I was lucky I didn't have to share a bathroom with the whole floor. I just shared it with like 8 girls. You just get to meet your roommates. I went random, but I thought they did a really good job. I don't know how. They just asked me like 10 questions and they did great. When you're a freshman at USC, you do not have a kitchen, so you have to use a dining meal plan, which is fine. The dining meal plan was great.
Overall, like, how was dining been, like your meal plan and everything?
I personally think it's good because we're both vegetarians, so they do have a lot of like vegan vegetarian options, which is great. Going into college, that was like my biggest worry. I think it's great. I think the food is good. There's always like different options, especially here at Parkside. Like it's the best dining hall by far. Even at like McCarthy and like Everybody's Kitchen, which is like on the other side of campus, but the food's really good. I think so. I think it's good. I think all around it's really good, and different dining halls have different tastes. Like if you want healthier, like more plant-based food, you can go to McCarthy, and then like Everybody's Kitchen has a little bit more like comfort food, and like Parkside has a lot of different buffet style stuff and different
More
bars
like
every week.
international
Yeah,
stuff.
more
Like,
international. It's like fun. Being a vegetarian, you're not just eating like pasta and bread all the time.
Yeah.
You have like actual sustenance to eat, which is good.
Other schools that I was looking at offered on-campus housing a little bit longer than USC. I think that would have made my decision easier, but in the long run, it didn't really matter. But we are also in the middle of a big city, so that's not as easy to achieve.
How was the move-in process for students traveling from out of state?
Move-in, coming from out of state, basically my mom just had a lot of my family members came and she had them pack like suitcases. We were originally planning to ship a lot of things, but it was really expensive and it was a lot cheaper to just pay for like the baggage fees on airlines.
When I moved in the first time freshman year, I flew out with my mom, and then we spent that day like with our rental car, like going and buying everything like we needed. And then my mom helped me move in, and I would just kind of like, purchase things as the semester went on.
I wanted to bring everything, but I couldn't. We just bought everything college related for my dorms and school supplies when we got here.
Toiletries and like what you'd need in an apartment building, towels I bought here, as well as like cabinets to store stuff if you don't have enough cabinets in the dorm.
And then in between, like freshman and sophomore year, did you get like a storage locker, or where'd you put everything?
Yeah, so I got a storage unit, and then
a lot of people use storage units. I was lucky I had a family friend who lived around here who could like help me store my stuff. I didn't want to give them all the stuff I had because I had so much. Like I would give to like a friend of mine who lives nearby, like disperse some of those big bulky items.
Every semester after that, I've done move-in by myself, just like putting stuff in storage.
Moving back in, it's not that hard. You just take one Uber ride wherever it is. You put their stuff in the big Uber XL and then you just transport it. So it wasn't too difficult.
Your freshman year, did you have?
I had my mom. You don't honestly need someone, but freshman year was more comforting. Yeah.
Especially if you're going shopping too.
Exactly.
Like, just to have someone there that'll help you or keep you accountable.
What were your other school considerations, and why did you ultimately choose USC?
So it was between USC and UCLA for me. The reason why I chose USC was because UCLA doesn't really have a business school for undergrad. It's just business economics, and I didn't want to do that. I think what would have made my decision to USC easier if it was cheaper. I think we can all agree. But even though it's a lot more expensive than UCLA, I think I still made the right choice for like the right fit for me.
Well, USC is the top screenwriting school in the country, so it wasn't that hard. I'd argue top film school altogether. I mean, SCA has, I believe now, 8 different film majors, and I like it because I want to focus more on screenwriting. A lot of other schools, they make you focus on all the films, so you can't really get to specialize in anything. At USC, you specialize in something, but you still get to learn everything.
Right.
More of a master at one, but you still know all.
Yeah.
The top 3 for me was USC. Well, that was my top anyways. That was my dream. And then Columbia in New York, as well as Northwestern. Columbia and USC, they were tied in terms of financial aid. Honestly, USC had it all. I mean, I had the weather, obviously. Love it. But also, because Ivy League's a lot of competition and sometimes it's not even friendly, and like especially since I'm in a major where yes, the film industry is very competitive, you also have to work together. USC was always my dream. I was a top school in a beautiful place. Like I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
If I hadn't gone to USC, I would have been choosing between Berkeley and NYU. USC just feels like basically like perfect fit for me because I'm from NorCal, so it's like just far enough to where I have independence, but I'm not like going anywhere with crazy weather that I'm not used to. In my major specifically, they have like a great professional school, but I knew coming in that I wanted to do like different minors and I wanted to be in clubs in different spaces, and USC has so many professional schools that are ranked so well. They just feel like a very well-rounded school in what they offer, and that's something that was a huge pull for me to come here. In hindsight, like USC was my dream school. I just didn't have enough information about it.
I think with the area that I wanted to study, USC was just the perfect fit for me since I wanted to learn more about like entertainment, film, and business. Like this is the best place that I could learn about that with with the different schools that USC has, the different variety of courses that I can take. Also think about location, like think about what's practical. Think about what's practical for you and what makes sense for what career you're going into.
It's really just personal experience.
It really is
what it goes down to. So whatever you think is best.
So my top 3s were Stanford, USC, and Cal Poly. I didn't get into one of those. I don't know if you can guess which one. But I was pretty set to stay in California. One of those reasons being I have a horse, as you know. So location, the environment, you could feel the energy and the school spirit, even though it was like COVID, you could just feel it. And I was like, I get in the car, I'm like, Mom, it's like Disneyland. That's what I said. I wanted to do marching band. I knew that was very important to me. And we have a great football team. So school spirit definitely is a big one too.
Honestly, like I kind of wanted to go out of state, but USC was like my dream school. I really ended up choosing USC because it was like so close to home. And then it also has like such a great like spirited atmosphere. Everything just seemed like so much, like it seemed fun as well as like academic.
My college decision was very tough because all throughout high school I was trying to execute the linear classical musician route, and normally that's undergoing a lot of music conservatories. I really loved how they had a really high arts program and a lot of notable faculty, but they also inspire a lot of contemporary music and diversity amongst the different arts that you can produce. That's more of the career route that I'm trying to undergo, while also still taking advantage of the classical education that USC provides, but also inspires me to think outside of the box and create my own field.
For me, it was like Syracuse in New York and then UW in Washington. And so like there was a bunch of other offers and different opportunities and different majors at those schools. But when I found out I got in here, the programs within Dornsife are so interesting to me.
What stood out to me with USC was that I came from a small school and I didn't want a really, really big lecture hall. And so I felt that like the median or average class size that at USC was doable. for me and so that I wouldn't feel overwhelmed. Another thing that I liked was the campus and just how walkable it was and how it wouldn't be difficult to commute.
When I was like deciding between colleges, it came down to like UCLA, USC, and then also Berkeley. I had a full scholarship to Berkeley, but I like knew that USC was like a better fit for me. Just like the environment and like, yeah, the social aspect, it would be a better fit because I could probably like find more academic resources here too because the school is smaller. That kind of like swayed my decision.
USC was the last acceptance that I got. I was kind of choosing between UCSD, BU, and UMich, and I was kind of like on the fence about all of them. And then when I got into USC, that was kind of an obvious choice for me. I think USC was also kind of like the first school, like first college that I really knew of, like growing up, because my older sister really wanted to go here. So it was kind of the school that I was most knowledgeable about and I felt most comfortable like going into.
Do you have any advice for new students or things you wished you knew before coming on campus?
Being a freshman, I'd say don't be afraid to get involved right away because I was online for COVID and I couldn't really get involved.
Try to find your social group where you can show your interest in different hobbies. I highly recommend doing that early on in freshman year and join a few because you're gonna have to get a feel for like what you really like and what you kind of like want to keep going in college.
Don't be afraid, like go to the involvement fair, figure out a few things that you like, even if you apply and like don't get in, it's still better than not doing anything at all.
For incoming freshmen, don't be afraid to try new things and meet all different kinds of people.
There's a bunch of people with a bunch of different backgrounds and like
just people with different strengths and interests and passions, and you get to see those people like really concentrate and like develop those passions when they get here.
You're gonna meet so many people that you think you'll click with and then you don't, or like people you didn't think you'd click with and then later you do. Just being kind of open-minded and be yourself when it comes to meeting people, when it comes to meeting your professors and stuff.
Don't be afraid of your individuality. You know, step into your uniqueness and never let anyone tell you differently.
Like, you don't need to put on like a facade, and I feel like that's so basic, but it's true.
When it comes to classes, at least, I would just tell other students that like to not be afraid to like ask questions or like be annoying and like bother your professor. I think getting into the habit of doing that is like good.
Everything's here. You're going to be supported no matter what. Faculty is always willing to help. Your RAs are always willing to help.
USC has very much a work hard, play hard sort of culture. You're surrounded by people who are constantly working really hard and studying and like just grinding all the time, but then also you'll see the same people like out on the weekends and it's really fun.
You can balance all of those things while still like growing a career and like still like exploring yourself and having fun. So I think there's a really good balance that USC has.
It's kind of an intense balance. I want to say a little bit of everything, but it's a lot of everything.
Do your research when it comes to classes, because like you never know when your advisor is actually going to help you. Sometimes your advisor will pretty much like put you on your own, so that's where you have to do your own research and sort of not depend on anyone.
Especially if you have like a minor in a different school, they like don't know what they're like what that is, and so they tell you the wrong things.
If you need to find another academic advisor or email someone that's actually in the school that you're trying to transfer to or minor in, I definitely recommend that.
Yeah, I agree.
Take people's advice on like classes with like a grain of salt, kind of, because like what's easy for other people might not be easy for you, and what's hard for other people might also not be as hard for you too.
Don't grow up too fast. I feel like college is like really your last opportunity to like be a kid and not have responsibilities if you have, you know, that privilege of like a family to support you and like a friend system to support you. Like if I could go back and change things that I had done, I would have worked less. You have the rest of your life to work. So if you're coming into college as a freshman, as a transfer, just like enjoy the time you have and enjoy like the relationships that you're building.
For incoming freshmen, a lot, especially if you're academically like inclined and like competitive student, it's kind of like big fish, small pond, entering bigger pond. Everybody's on the same level. Be mindful of like burning out. Be like easy on yourself. Like college is really hard. Trying to take care of yourself as you start school and not trying to like be the best the second you step on campus.
Just calm down to myself.
That's a good piece of advice.
Yeah, like calm down.
Imposter syndrome is real.
Yes.
On this campus.
Oh my gosh.
Especially in the first like 2 weeks.
Literally. It'll work out. Be yourself. Be friendly and fight on.
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 Fight on!
Fight on!
Howdy.
See you later.
Yeah, so that's scary.
Too good.
You're never gonna
Too
not
good.
see someone doing that on campus.
It was giving DJ Molsky.
Anyways.
And have a lot of energy and make fun of people
Did you say
and
energy?
Follow my socials right here, and my email will be right here. Thanks, guys.
I'm a sophomore here at USC and I stutter.
True.
Don't look Edit that out.
So I was walking on the street and I see this child in a USC shirt in Paris. And I go, fight on to the child. And the dad goes, fight on, and then stops. Like, what? You USC, whatever we talk. He's a band alumni. You know, you meet amazing people and they will fight on back to you, even abroad.
It's crazy.